Have you ever looked at someone in a position of power and thought, how the hell did they even get there? Well, you're not alone, because I think that all the time when I see people in positions of power. Now, we've all seen it. People who couldn't even organise a simple pub quiz, somehow running entire companies, these big institutions, or even countries. Now, from ancient emperors to the tech giants of today, a few familiar faces we've seen at number 10. Now, there seems to be a strange pattern here. And it might not be that incompetence slips into power by accident, but that power actually seems to reward it. So today we're diving into the uncomfortable truth about why the least qualified often rise the highest. So now, intelligence. It's not always your best asset if you want power. Now, why? It's because genuinely smart people do inconvenient things like think critically, ask too many questions, or they just hesitate when they should be chest thumping with certainty. Now, think about political debates. We've all seen them. Now, if one candidate says, well, in order to achieve this, it's going to be complicated. There's going to be trade-offs. And on this side, you've got the other guy saying, well, I'll fix it. Day one, it'll be done. Guess who the crowd's going to cheer for? Now, in fact, a study back in 2017 showed that being smart actually helps you lead up to a certain point. Now, go too far beyond that, and the people might find your ideas too complex or even start alienating you. Now, while one person's playing that 4D chess, the others playing snakes and ladders and somehow winning that popularity contest. Now, this brings us to something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, simply, it's a psychological contrast where people with low ability tend to overestimate themselves, while highly skilled people often underestimate how good they actually are. Now, it's like that one guy we all know who insists that he could manage England football team a little bit better than Gareth Southgate, despite having never coached anything more than a hungover Sunday league squad. Now, we all know those people. And they seem to have this overconfidence without the skills to back it up. And it's not just this day-to-day banter we're seeing. It happens at the highest levels. Take Matt Hancock back when he confidently managed the whole Department of Health into a whirlwind of headlines. And then he just confidently strutted into the jungle like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? So the point is, people who lack competence often don't even realize it. Meanwhile, the truly competent do. And that self-awareness can actually hold them back in environments that reward that source, that swagger over having the substance. Now, here's where it gets properly philosophical. So once incompetent people rise to power, they often do something very smart. They actually surround themselves with people even less competent. Now, why? Because if everyone around you is worse, you always look like a genius, even if the bar is so low that you could even trip over it. Now, Machiavelli himself said, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Now, look back at recent British cabinets, the ministers who challenge decisions out. The independent experts, they get sidelined. Instead, promotions tend to go to the loyal, not the capable. Now, this starts to create a yes man echo chamber where bad decisions go unchallenged and incompetence becomes the new standard, becomes the new normal. But here's the big question. Why do we keep voting for and hiring these people and following these people? The answer lies in our psychology. The fact is, humans, we hate uncertainty. especially in times of crisis, where, we're drawn to that person that sounds confident, even if they're wrong, over people who explain things honestly and with nuance. Now think about something like climate crisis. Scientists use cautious language, they use ranges, they work with probabilities, scenarios. Politicians, on the other hand, they just say, let's plant more trees. Job done. And guess which one starts to win the headlines? So this is a theme. Now this is called cognitive closure. When we're scared or uncertain, we cling to clear, simple answers, even if they're wrong. It's madness, because our brains, they want relief. They want that certainty more than the truth. Now let's go one layer darker. Smart people often tend to, they tend to lose power struggles, not because they're not clever enough, but because they have ethics. Now Machiavelli said, a prince who wishes to maintain his position must learn how not to be good. So in simple translation, if you're the only one playing by the rules in a rigged game, you're never going to win that game. Now think back to Jeremy Corbyn. Like him or not, he stayed principled. Meanwhile, others promised the moon. They dodged tough questions and played that charisma game much better than him. Now in politics and in business, those willing to cross those ethical lines can use tactics, their principled peers simply just won't. And often that seems to give them the edge. So are we doomed? Are we doomed to be ruled by overconfident amateurs forever? Well, not if we just wise up. Now here's how we can actually start to challenge and change the game within our workplace, our communities, or even our companies. So first one, practice intellectual humility. It's okay to say, I don't know. In actual fact, it's actually powerful. People trust those who learn out loud more than those who pretend they know everything. Now, number two, start to build competent teams. If you can, hire or align with people who challenge you, not flatter you. If you're always that smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Now, number three, demand real accountability. This is important. Start to ask real questions. Push for transparency, whether it's your local MP, your manager at work, or even a school board. Make sure power gets checked. And number four, important, upgrade your media diet. Don't just consume what's viral or what's loud. Follow people who are evidence-based, not just charismatic. Now, number five, champion merit, not charisma. Praise substance over spectacle. Now, support those who are qualified, even if they don't speak in sound bites. And if you're aiming for leadership, start to study how power really works. Not to manipulate, but to lead better, with empathy, with more understanding. Because philosophers have a dark reputation. But maybe it's just because they didn't sugarcoat anything. They didn't cut no shit. Machiavelli wasn't promoting corruption. He was actually exposing it. So whether you're looking to climb a career ladder or, trying to build a better community for yourself, just remember that real leadership isn't about looking the part. It's about earning the trust that you've been given. So if this video actually gave you something to think about, hit that like button, subscribe for more no-nonsense breakdowns, and share this with someone wondering why their office or their government is run by people who peaked at confidently just filling out a cover letter. So until next time, guys, remember, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, understanding the darkness doesn't mean surrendering to it. It means knowing how to light your way through it.